Hello, everybody. This week we are going to be looking a little bit at art from the past. We're going to be continuing to use our found object art making techniques like we did last week, but instead of looking at a contemporary artist making artwork today, we're going to be creating some artwork inspired by an artist from the past. That artist is Mark Rothko. Mark Rothko is one of my favorite artists. He is considered an abstract expressionist artist. What is that? Abstract expressionism is a movement in art history that took place in about the 1940s, where artists stopped making artwork that looked like people, places, and things, representative art, right? Artwork that represented objects and people and stories by showing them, by representing them. And they started moving a little bit into more abstract work that, while it might represent the same kinds of ideas, it did so using shapes and lines and colors and things like that to represent the same ideas rather than representing the object itself. So, Mark Rothko is an abstract expressionist artist. Mark Rothko's focus is color. We all look at colors and have emotional connections to them. So we all look at the same shade of red and might have kind of a high energy, almost an angry connotation to it. We might look at a shade of blue and say that it has a calming kind of connotation to it. And that's a lot of what Mark Rothko wanted to show in his work. He used colors to represent the ideas rather than the ideas represented through the objects themselves. In 1949, he showed artworks in a gallery called the Betty Parsons Gallery in New York City. And that is when he really started moving into his signature style, these big blocks of color. Within the movement of abstract expressionism, the work that he was created is considered color field. I'm sure you can tell why. We are living in a time right now where we have so many crazy emotions, from the highs to the lows, all over the place. So I thought it would be an appropriate time for us to focus on feelings, our energy, our highs and our lows through the use of color in the same way that Mark Rothko did in his work. So today for your work, you are going to be creating a Mark Rothko inspired found object artwork. You are going to be using items of clothing to block out the colors inspired by one of his paintings. I am going to be creating a version of my favorite Rothko painting, Yellow Band, from 1956. This is one of my favorite Mark Rothko paintings, and I'm going to use my clothing to recreate it as a found object artwork. I'll show you how I do that right now. All right, everyone. So the first thing that you need to do is to make sure that you have a well-lit area to be setting up your artwork. Sometimes lights coming from a lamp will make the colors look more yellow than they actually are, which is not what we want at all. Your best bet is to go outside. Natural light is always going to be best for this. Once you have your spot and you have gotten the reference that you're going to be using to create, you're going to assemble your materials. So I went through my closet and I pulled out some pinks, some reds, yellows, and oranges that I found in my Rothko painting. So first I see pink around the outside. Now I want to lay down my clothing as flat as possible. I don't want any extra wrinkles or anything weird in them. I figure my photograph is probably going to be about this big, so I really just need to focus on that space. Then I'm looking at my photo and I notice I have an orange band at the top. For the stripes, using sleeves of clothing is really good. Going to lay it down, make sure it's flat. I'm gonna try to hide the seam. That at the top. There's a yellow band in the middle. I'm going to use the sweater that I was just wearing. Now, the final thing you're going to do is photograph your work. This is the most important part, and this is something that I've noticed that we've struggled with. So if you have someone at home who has a phone camera that you can use, please borrow it from them. I'm gonna make sure that my brightness is all the way up so I can see what I'm photographing. And I wanna zoom in and crop the image so it looks roughly like the Rothko. If I see any weird shadows, I will crop those out. If I see any weird wrinkles, I'll try to fold those back. And I want to get it just right. Get the angles right. I'm going to zoom in. Make sure I'm taking my picture directly top down and not at an angle like this. It's not very pretty to see all the background things on my desk. And away we go. Once I'm done, I'm going to go through my pictures, figure out which one is the best. If I need to crop it at all anymore, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to send it to Miss Pullman on Google Classroom by attaching it. And I have my shirt Rothko right here. So to recap, you are going to look through the catalog of Rothko paintings on the Wiki Art link that I've provided on the Google Classroom assignment. You're going to find an artwork that you think represents your current emotional state through the colors that it is using. For example, I'm feeling really energetic and a little crazy, so I chose yellow, orange, red, and found an artwork of his that had those colors in it. You're going to find a nice, sunny, well-lit spot. You're going to gather the material that matches the colors in the Rothko piece, and you are going to lay them out as carefully as you can, take that photo, upload the photo to the assignment. In addition to the artwork that you've created, I want you to attach the Rothko painting that it was inspired by. So you'll have to take a screenshot of the image that you are using as inspiration for this project. I really look forward to seeing what you're going to create. I really look forward to seeing what you're going to create. See you soon.